Hey, what's up everybody? Today I'm doing a review of my Yamaha EMX 5014C powered mixer. Okay, so all in all this is a pretty awesome board. I've never had any problems with it. I can't think of any reason why I won't be keeping it until it dies. I haven't ever had to do something that this board couldn't do. Every time I found something that needed some little extra, like the phantom power, or I wanted to plug my iPod into it, I was able to do it. And I didn't even know how many features this thing had until I actually bought it and started needing them, and I found out that they had already had them. I bought this $500 used, which is a really good price. I'm pretty sure I don't know if they make them anymore, but I think when they were new they were about $750. And yeah, it's definitely worth that money. Now before we go any further, I should probably go into the numbers. This has 2 amps in it, and it produces 500 watts altogether, I'm pretty sure, which is a lot of power, especially if you're just using this for what I'm using it for, just kind of to mess around. It's actually got a lot of features, and it's a Yamaha, so it's nice. Alright, so this board is technically 14 channels, but there's only about 8 XLR channels, and the last 2 are labeled 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I've never needed those channels, so I couldn't exactly tell you the real technical information on that. Now the 11, 12, 13, and 14 channel is kind of different in that it's not auxiliary. It's not the XLR. It's auxiliary. So you can, if you have a cord, which I do, you can plug, say, an iPod, a CD player in to these and have it go through the powered mixer, or you could plug the auxiliary cables from a VCR, an Xbox, a PlayStation, anything like that, and have it go through this mixer. So you could potentially have a theater system. Okay, the controls per channel are pretty standard. You have your gain, your composition. You have your high, the 2 mids, and the low, which is pretty typical. Okay, and you have your auxiliary 1 and 2, which I don't really use ever. And this is to change the volume on the effect, which you can turn on later. Then you have a pan button, knob, which, left, right speaker, whichever one. And then there's a nice little kind of indent stop sort of in the middle, so it's really easy to find the middle. And just an on-off button, pretty typical. And this will tell you if the green light is going, that means that it is hearing something. And it won't be constantly running, it'll just go if, like, say you talk in the mic or something, then the green light will go. If there's too much and it hits that limiter or it peaks out, then the red light will go saying that you need to not do that anymore, because if you continually peak it over time, it's going to do some damage. And then you have your typical volume knobs, which do exactly what you think and just turn the volume up or down. One of my favorite features is this right there, phantom power. You may not need it unless if you have, say, a condenser mic. A lot of high-end, more powerful mics need extra power, which is called phantom power. Typically, cheaper soundboards don't have phantom power, so you have to buy a phantom power box, which is just more power. But this one does, which is nice. It's just an on-off, and basically it does exactly what it says. You turn it on and phantom power appears, and it powers anything that's plugged in. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to plug it in differently. You just plug in your mic in the XLR input and then turn on the phantom power, and it's just like a normal mic. Another very nice feature about this, which is really helpful because this is such a powerful mixer for its class, it may damage speakers depending on how nice the speakers you have. I have 400 watt speakers, 2 of them, so I don't need to worry too much about it. But like I said, this goes up to 500 watts, so you may not want all 500 watts going through each speaker, so you can limit it to 500, 250, or 75 watts. And then you can either limit it to the left speaker, the right speaker, or both, and then you just turn it on. The board's not on right now, so nothing will happen. But basically what will happen is it'll take it all the way to the max until it hits the peak, and then you'll see these 2 lights go on, meaning that it stopped the power at wherever you limited it at. So no matter what, you're not putting out more than what you told it to put out, which is really helpful because if you have smaller speakers that say are only 100 200 watts and you accidentally put 500 watts through them, there may be some damage. So you can limit it and you won't ever have that problem. Another nice feature is a 1/4" headphone jack, which is really nice because if you are playing your mic or anything through this, you can plug that in and it'll only play through the headphones and you won't have to worry about anybody getting annoyed. Okay, so earlier I mentioned effects. This board has 16 effects. They're not all the greatest. I mean, it's just from a board. It's not supposed to be the best, but just the fact that it has them is kind of cool. It gives you this list going anywhere from reverb to distortion. And then you just select which effect you want with the knob. And then you come down here and you turn the effect on. My button is broken. It doesn't click in, but it still works. And yeah, then from there you can just change the levels and stuff of the effect itself. Okay, right here we have a standby button, which does exactly what it says. When you press that button, channels 1 through 6 are turned off, but the board itself stays on. So you can mess around with the other 4 channels, which are those kind of weird channels that do different functions, so that you don't accidentally mess up with anything, or you don't have to worry about those making any noise. And like I said, 500. I think I was wrong, and I think both amps produce 500, which would make sense. I'm pretty sure it's 500 through the speakers, and you can plug in monitors and have 500 watts going through the monitors as well, which is pretty awesome. And then right here is your sound level indicator, basically, and you know, it'll go green and then it'll be yellow, and then when it peaks out, these lights will either go, or the red peak light that was on the individual channel will go off, saying that you hit the limit. Yeah, this is cool. It has an equalizer, and you can either turn it on or off, and it's just a typical equalizer, and you can adjust with the levels and stuff. I don't want to mess with it too much because it's kind of annoying. And right here, this red slider, that's for the overall volume of the whole board. So you can change around the individual channels and then turn up the whole thing if you want to. I wouldn't turn it up all the way ever, because usually you'll get feedback or something will go wrong, and it just never works. Okay, now this is the back of the board. There's another channel off to the right that you can't see because it's exactly the same as the other one. But this is the power cord. It's just like a computer monitor cord. Pull it in or out. And the power switch, I will turn it on, but a bunch of fans will be going, so you'll be able to hear them. And that's it, it's on. It runs pretty quiet for a soundboard, actually, which is really nice. And then these are the speaker inputs. This is the right speaker, mono auxiliary 2. So if you only have the right speaker in, then it'll only play the right speaker, which is mono, obviously. And then the auxiliary 2 knobs that are on all these channels control that. Then on the other side there's a left speaker, which is auxiliary 1. Yeah, and then you can plug anything that has a 1/4" jack, like monitors, speakers, whatever, you can plug into here. And I'm not entirely sure what these are. I've never needed to use them. They might be some other kind of speaker input. I don't really know. Okay, that concludes my review and overview of the Yamaha EMX 5014C powered mixer. I would definitely recommend this to anybody who needs a mixer that isn't a professional mixer. This puts out plenty of power for even an okay sized auditorium. I mean, this definitely, with the right speakers, is a semi-professional board, and I've used it many times, and I don't plan on ever using anything else. So okay, thanks for watching.